is the Daily Terry podcast.
Check one. Let me see this shit.
This is Gunner.
Checking in, how you doing? Representing Kansas City, Missouri, from the podcast, as you can see.
Yes,
Here in full
sir.
swing. That right there on the other end is the lovely figure of Gusquix.
And Terry D. No, but real name's Aiden. Around here, we're all Terrys, if you know what I'm saying. Terry?
Damn, Skippy.
Anyway. So, depending on when we post this, it's probably going to be a little bit because we know nothing about how to make podcasts as of right now, so editing is going to be a fucking bitch. But as of today, tis Wednesday, January 6th, 2021.
Yeah.
Shout out to Woo. Woo back motherfucking Wednesday, you know what I'm saying? So on this here day, our children, if we ever have them, will be learning about the history of today. For fucking sure. We have a bunch of cocksuckers in this world that decided to fucking storm the fucking Capitol, and yeah,
People got shot.
some people got fucked up. So
play out. We had the vice president, speaker of the House on the
Check it
floor.
out,
We
I
had
guess.
other House and Senate leadership in the area as well. And similar to the White House, the
Yeah, you
US
can hear that shit,
Capitol
right, Baker?
is not a building that you expect to be breached, and especially do not want to have to be in a position where you take it back from an individual, let alone a large group that acted like an insurgency that we saw earlier today. We saw the collapse of the outer, middle, and ultimately the inner perimeter of the security plan based on the determination of the protesters combined with a lack of overall law enforcement resources. So while the Capitol Police were able to slow down the protesters to the inner perimeter of security, eventually they were overwhelmed, and the Capitol Police were left with having to evacuate all of the members of Congress and the Secret Service with evacuating the vice president.
That's what happens when you have the juggernaut.
Well, and we know what an exceptional.
So, and fucking a little backstory about us is we're all in the military and we're all in the same unit together. We all work together. So with this, they just activated literally all of fucking Colombia's National Guard, every single person.
District Columbia.
Yeah, so in the real army, active, we look at them, people like they're little bitches, but they get on their deployments. Little Gunner here just got back from Afghani lands. But fucking my take on the whole thing, is like knowing firsthand, like back when it came to the fucking rioting for, George Floyd, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the point of even having police out there? What's the point of activating these motherfuckers when they can't even do anything? They're literally just standing there and getting hazed for it as if it's their fucking fault. Like, I know personally, I'm a pretty nice dude when it comes to, I'll take your shit until I don't. And then when I don't, it's a fucking problem. But I am not going to fucking stand there and get fucking spit on by the American, economy where I signed my life away at 17 years old to go fucking fight for, and just get fucking thrown back in my face as if I'm a piece of shit for it. You know what I mean? Like, that to me, like seeing our battle buddies over there, just get fucking shit on for something that they have no control of. They get told to do it and they have to. They just have to stand there and fucking take it. And it's pretty fucking, mesmerizing to see that type of shit, because I don't know if I could fucking do it. Like, I don't know if I'd still be in the military and have a career at this moment, because
That should be easy, though.
like, I hold myself to a certain standard, so in my own eyes, my pride, like I just don't know if I'd be able to take that. And then again, I go back on it like fucking what are we gonna do? Like say like because I heard rumors that this I'm not very big in politics, but I heard rumors that if
They're gonna
this
send
shit
us over and shit. That's not
yeah,
happening.
well if this doesn't go through and Biden doesn't become president today, that Trump's gonna be still in office or whatever, blah blah blah, and he's gonna declare martial law. So like the whole entire economy is gonna shut down. There's like your bank account's gonna be frozen. Every stores are gonna be closed. Like the roads are gonna be blocked off. Like nothing is gonna be going on, which means we'll be fucking deployed to the streets of Watertown because we're in Fort Drum, New York. That's where we're stationed. Just dealing with the local crackheads that are already homeless on the street, just trying to live their fucking dirty, washed up life. Like we aren't
Or
going
just
to
imagine
do.
about
We're not going to do anything standing out there besides freezing our fucking nuts off unless you're wearing a fucking tuggy, which if you don't have one, you should.
They sell them at Spencer's for about $10.95. Check it out.
I think they're like 15, but
Something like that, but it makes your balls nice and warm around 4
That's
days.
what Tuggy get you there.
yeah,
Been here about 4 damn years. I'll tell you what, buddy. Shit gets fucking frosty.
yeah.
You know,
Now, when you say Tuggy, do you mean a fucking jacket, or are we talking like, you know, a stripper giving you a fucking hand job, blow job, you know, shit like that? Because I've never seen Tuggy. So do explain.
a tuggy? It's like a little cheetah print, little coat.
I'll show you.
It's a little coat for your pee-pee.
This right here.
Oh, a
This is-
Tuggy.
This is a tuggy.
I hope to God this is TVMA right here, boys, because
I mean, it's blocked off. Fuzzy cocksock. Okay.
It's a sock that warms your cock.
no, but backtracking on what you said, Austin, about the whole like riots and shit. But yeah, ever since fucking George Floyd, that shit happened. Remember we were driving around fucking Watertown? They were just stacking people. Just like 50, 60 people just walking around because of this guy. And then I'm thinking about him like with this whole thing going on with, you know, the politics and shit. I don't fucking politics. I really don't. Being in the military, you learn, you're like, whoever the next boss is, I don't give a fuck. One's leaving.
Hurry up. That's exactly what it is.
Fuck it. But what I'm trying to say is, it's like with this whole thing going on, I just, because people don't fuck with police already because of George Floyd. Because the whole thing about, you know, I can't breathe and shit like that with Black Lives Matter, which I'm not against. I'm totally for it. But it's happening like that. How are they going to bring out police when nobody trusts them anyway? So you're basically just antagonizing the protesters. Like, oh, we're going to bring police out. Oh, there you go. There proves my point that they're going to be over here backlashing on us like they did to the Black Lives Matter people. So
Yeah, but the funny thing is the narrative they're talking about it, you know, coming from fucking a right-wing fucking network, as in like, you know, Fox or something. They're not talking like they did when, you know, it happened with the BLM. So that movement right there, they're saying like I was watching earlier. I was on CNN. You know, they were talking, you know, how they normally do. They're talking like that. And I go to Fox News and, yeah, they weren't denouncing it, that it didn't happen, but they weren't saying it was they said it was a bad thing, but they didn't, like, you know, they're trying to get the narrative to where
hey, babe.
that white people ain't doing any wrong.
Hey, babe.
That's all I gotta say.
But yeah, like, that's what I'm just saying. Like, I don't know what's going on, but it's going to be a shit show. It's definitely going to be a shit show. It's carrying from 2020 to 21. Like, Corona's still a thing. Stores are still, like, they're starting to close. Like, what was it? Fucking Bed Bath & Beyond. That bitch just closed the fuck down permanently like, a few weeks ago. I'm like, the fuck?
Wait, really?
That shit, yeah. If you go to downtown,
Son of a bitch!
yeah,
I had to get my last bath bomb.
yeah, dude, they're closed permanently.
Did you
But
know?
yeah, and then also like a lot of stores,
Did they?
they're closing. I understand this, but now that you're putting these protesters out that are raiding the fucking Capitol building, that's showing you right now, like, the rules that they set aside for social distancing, there was 2 million people nut to butt. Like, there's no way that you can social distance with 2 million people raiding this fucking building. There's no way. So whatever they're saying about this whole quarantine and this fucking, I get it. Health issues, I get it. If you have prior health issues, quarantine. Get the fuck out of my face. Don't be coughing on me, whatever. But if you don't, like us, we get vaccines like what? Every few months we get like fucking 3 or 4.
Seems like,
and it's like we're good to go. And it pisses me off that I can't go to the bar, shake my little tail feather, and I can't be doing what we used to do.
yeah.
In Terry, it's like when you get to that age, you can have some fun with us.
They're sending out the National Guard, right?
The,
Who literally does nothing. Like they show up 2 days out of the month, right?
Mhm.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they do.
They gotta do a lot
2 days
in
out of the
2
month.
days,
And,
though.
no. Once. What is it? Once a month and 2 times out of the year, I think.
No. They go there. They go once a month.
Yeah, is it? Wait, your mom's not National Guard. She's Reserve, right?
Yeah, she's a reservist. National Guard people go one every. There's like drill weekends, is what they call it.
Yeah.
Well, here's my point. Like, they are never expecting to do anything when it comes to combat related.
Oh, you don't, dude. They get deployed more than active duty sometimes.
I know, but it's just pathetic because they don't
Crazy
expect
because
it.
they don't train as much as we do because we do
Exactly.
it on a daily basis.
We
they go
are
to Walmart, they
always
work at
fucking
Buffalo
ready
Wild
for this
Wings,
shit, and
and
it
then they
never
go
happens to
to-
us. But then they send the whole District of Columbia, right? That's a place that they send out.
DC.
They activated for this shit, and I'm guaranteeing you that they're not gonna look it, but about 90. No, I give them the benefit of the doubt. 87% of them are scared shitless, and nothing's gonna happen. And if something
Just
does
gonna
happen,
stand there.
they're not going to do anything about it because they literally can't. So there's no reason to activate them.
It makes no sense. Like what you're saying is, it makes no sense to activate somebody just for them to stand there and look big with the police. Like nobody
Yeah.
fucks with the police right now. Like I don't give no fucks. I really don't. But how are you gonna set somebody there just to stand there and look like, oh, the military's here, guys? Now you gotta straighten your act up. They're not gonna do shit. There's 2 million against the District of Columbia. Like what's that gonna do? You got a bunch of people that have other jobs
Exactly.
more than the military. They only get paid what, $200? That's not their life. But you have us that train and want to do something. I don't need to go to aerosol. I don't need to do all that shit. I tried, it didn't work, whatever. But I want to get deployed. I mean, my family did it. Why can't I? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And my family comes from my mom and dad. My mom was Air Force. My grandparents were Air Force. My dad was a Marine. So I'm just like, I'm in the middle of the boat right now. I'm just like, Army, let's fucking do it. Fuck it, let's go. So I'm like, all right, let me just take their shoes off, put it on myself, and do what I gotta do.
Yeah, man. Fucking. Here, let me see if I can find this fucking clip.
Oh, did they knock some people out?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, woman got shot.
Like she's trying to do the Paris to France.
Yeah, man. I mean, we can't do shit unless we have direct orders.
Yeah.
Like they had 2 police forces there, Columbia's and some other fucking dudes. Can't remember what the hell their names were, and they couldn't stop them from literally walking right in. Like motherfuckers were taking.
Like they had to. Did you hear what they did with Pence? Mike Pence. Him and his bodyguards took him under the bunker, locked him in this room, so he was protected. It's like a bomb shelter, basically. It's like nobody can get in there.
Oh, dude,
2 million people went to the Capitol. Somebody had to organize this. Like, hey guys, we're going to wreck some shit up, and that's what happened. Like you saw in the video, people were on the ground, knocked the fuck out, world star style. Like,
One thing I did see. Let me see if I can fucking.
baby, you watching the news?
One of my soldiers actually posted this shit.
But you say the Capitol was breached. Whose house is that? That is we the people's house. That is the United States of American Capitol.
Is that one of the guys against it?
So no, so he was saying, which it makes sense, I guess, in a way. Like, so this whole thing, right? Like, cause I came in today, no idea this shit was happening. You know, just Powers is really fucking about politics in general, and so is Maddie, the clerk, and so they were talking to me about it all day, and came out like pretty like knowledgeable as of this situation, I guess. So it's controversial as fuck. Fuck, can't talk. Because like in a way, like that guy is saying, like technically, yeah, I mean, in the Constitution, it does state like we the people, it is ours as a whole. So like why the fuck are you locking this down when it's everybody's? It should be publicly that like what he's saying is like it should have been a public event. We should have all been be able to be involved. So the whole situation from what I got is that everyone that is on board with Trump, right, is like under the impression that well, what he says is like the biggest fraud scam ever, you know, voting fraud or yeah.
That's what I'd say too if I lost. But I mean, there are certain instances where that makes sense. But
Well,
you know, when it comes to that dude saying "we the people," that is our house. He's totally correct. But guess what? We elect people to do that. That's why they were having a hearing trying to get this shit done, and then they get interrupted, causing the shit, you know, to keep going and keep going. Like they just got back in there about, you know, 15, 20 minutes ago. They just got back in there. Now they're re-debating about these states and the, you know, the voters and all that electoral.
Like what your buddy said, what Powers said about like the votes with Joe Biden, like about the whole debt, like how, like that kind of threw me off guard too. How are you gonna vote when you're dead? Like I never understood that. Like you've been dead for years and now you want to vote.
Yeah, they're not even registered to vote. That's the thing. That's fucking insane.
They're registered to the obituary.
So apparently there was a man who died in
1992.
1992. That is older than all of us here.
Yeah.
That would be 29 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's 29 years old, but like 29 years ago he died and he voted for Biden, right? This man literally crawled out of his grave, being dead for 29 years, to make sure that President Trump did not get elected. Over his goddamn 20-year-old dead body, would he allow Trump to be reelected?
Goddamn.
That is actually a good expression too. Over my dead body, that Trump will not be elected. Well, he kind of put it in there. Because I saw videos all over like YouTube and news websites. It was saying that like I saw there was like videos of people pulling out of trash dumpsters of votes that said Trump, but they threw it away. So like, what is this saying? Like, is Joe Biden
so
a sore loser, or is he just
apparently
try to play the game and not expect that everybody was going to be on that?
Apparently,
like,
it's a money game. So
it is
because they're saying the same shit about Mike Pence, right? So like I was talking to Maddie because she knows pretty much everything about this shit. She's like, whatever happens is determined by Mike Pence, and I was like, wait, isn't Mike Pence Trump's vice president? And she was like, I was kind of just like they ran 4 years in office together, you know, like wouldn't he have his back?
Dude, a lot of people don't like Trump. And
she just kind of was like, well, if you get offered enough money, he will do anything.
It's fair.
Which then I said, well, isn't Trump rich?
He's not rich. You got to think too, because I saw this in an article too. Like all the money he's made from his presidency, like the money that he gets, he didn't ask. He asked for no money. Like the only money that he's making personally is from the Trump Towers, his business. He hasn't made any money.
3-point-something million before he even became president.
That's what I'm saying. So you gotta understand a guy that's done
twice, I'm pretty sure.
business.
He never actually filed for bankruptcy. I actually did research on this today. His businesses themselves,
His business.
They weren't able to keep up on set amount payments that they were supposed to. So they had to claim bankruptcy, but then they ended up not having to. So they never actually went bankrupt. So they're continuing right now.
Uphold and defend the Constitution. Every single member of the House of Representatives swore the same oath as well.
Yeah, fucking.
And I think we've got a solemn obligation and responsibility here to prove once again that this country is a nation of laws and not of men. And the only result that we can reach together is one that rejects the claim of the senator from Texas and the other members of the House and Senate who seek to overturn the decisions that are made by the states, by the voters in the states, and by the courts. If we follow what they have proposed, we will be the ones that will have disenfranchised every single person who cast a vote in this election, whether they voted for the president or they didn't. I urge you to reject.
I don't know if I agree with what he's saying because I don't know what the fuck he's saying, but I like this guy's energy.
Mr. President, I arrived in Washington this morning. I fully
Is that Mike Pence right there? Yeah.
Yeah.
electoral votes. However,
I'll be right back. I need to go to the bathroom. I need to poop.
consider, and I cannot now in good conscience object to the certification of these electors. The violence, the lawlessness, and siege of the halls of Congress are abhorrent and stand as a direct attack on the very institution my objection was intended to protect the sanctity of the American democratic process. And I thank law enforcement for keeping us safe. I believe that there were last-minute changes to the November 2020 election process and serious irregularities that resulted in too many Americans losing confidence, not only in the integrity of our elections, but in the power of the ballot as a tool of democracy. Too many Americans are frustrated at what they see as an unfair system.
What's going on there?
Nevertheless, there is no excuse for the events that took place in these chambers today, and I pray that America never suffers such a dark day again. Though the fate of this vote is clear, the future of the American people's faith in the core institution of this democracy remains uncertain. We as a body must turn our focus to protecting the integrity of our elections and restoring every American's faith that their voice and their vote matters. America is a divided country with serious differences, but it is still the greatest country on earth. There can be no disagreement that upholding democracy is the only path to preserving our republic. I yield the floor.
My first job after school was in Macon, Georgia, working for a federal judge, Lanier Anderson. And I learned a lot about integrity and a lot about law from him. I also learned some sad lessons that in the history of Georgia, and indeed Virginia and many states, so many people, especially people of color, have been disenfranchised over the course of our history. Our late friend, John Lewis, congressman from Georgia, was savagely beaten.
Yeah, and thrown in prison
just
or
for
jail.
marching for voting rights.
Mm-hmm.
That act of violence inspired this body, the U.S. Senate.
When did that happen?
To come together in
1950s,
March of 1965 and work
60s.
to pass in a bipartisan fashion.
You know, during the racist ass time in America.
We should be coming together today after acts of
Yeah,
violence
he was there with Martin Luther King.
as a
doing
United
those
States
marches.
Senate to affirm the votes of all who cast ballots in November. Instead, we're contemplating an unprecedented objection that would be a massive disenfranchisement of American voters. The Georgia result was very clear, a 12,000 vote margin, 2 certifications by Republican officials, 4 separate recounts and canvasses, 7 lawsuits, as in the other states.
Lawsuits.
If we object to results like
People that don't
this,
get
the
their way.
message is so clear. We are saying to states, no matter how secure and accurate your elections are, we'll gladly overthrow them if we don't like who you voted for. But more importantly, what we'll be saying, really what we'll be doing, is as the body that acted together to guarantee Americans the right to vote, we will become the agent of one of the most massive disenfranchisements in the history of this country. So I urge all of my colleagues, please oppose these objections. Thank you, and I yield to my colleague from New Jersey.
Individuals laid siege to our capital, stormed our sacred civic spaces, and tried to upend and overrun this government. One was in the War of 1812, and the other one was today. What's interesting about the parallel between the two is they both were waving flags to a sole sovereign, to an individual, surrendering democratic principles to the cult of personality. One was a monarch in England, and the other were the flags I saw all over our capital, including in the hallways and in this room, to a single person named Donald Trump. The sad difference between these two times is one was yet another nation in the history of our country that tried to challenge the United States of America. But this time,
It's our own
we
people.
brought this hell upon ourselves. My colleague from Texas said that this was a moment where there were unprecedented allegations of voter fraud. Yes, that is true. They were unprecedented when the president, before the election even happened, said, if I lose this election,
Yep.
then the election was rigged. That's unprecedented. It's unprecedented before.
You know what's crazy? Even before Trump got elected, he said it was rigged and he wasn't going to win. And guess what? He won.
And it's unprecedented that he is fanning the flames of conspiracy theory to create a smokescreen.
I remember
in
that
this nation.
vividly. He said, yeah, the election's rigged. I can't win.
What he's trying to do, which is undermine our democratic principles. But it's not just that. The shame of this day is it's being aided and abetted by good Americans who are falling prey.
He'd be a good
Who
pastor.
are choosing Trump over truth.
Got that from him.
Who are surrendering to the passion of lies as opposed to standing up and speaking truth to power, who are trying to
It's just good a public
fundraise
speaker.
That's Gandhi right there, bro.
of conspiracy theories as opposed to
I listen to his voice when I fall asleep at night. It's so calming.
valuable
I just want to rub his head and see what falls out.
speak truth to our nation. Our democracy is wounded, and I saw it when I saw pictures of yet another insurgency, of a flag of another group of Americans who tried to challenge our nation. I saw the flag of the Confederacy there.
Yeah, that's reaching, but I mean, to a certain
What will we
extent.
do? How will we confront this shame? How will we confront this dark second time in American history? I pray that we remember a Georgian. His words, all I can say is we must in spirit join together like those Georgians on a bridge called the Edmund Pettus who joined hands, who were called threats to our democracy, who were called outrageous epithets when they sought to expand our democracy, to save it, to heal it, when they joined arm in arm and said what we should say now, commit ourselves to that ideal.
The lesson of 1801, because I'm kind of a history nerd, and I wanted to celebrate the glories of the peace.
Yeah, we can make this a Joe Rogan
across
podcast.
our
for
nation's
sure.
history. It feels a little naive now to talk about ways that American civics might be something that could unite us and bring us back together. 1801 blew everybody's mind all over the world, by the way. John Adams loses to Thomas Jefferson, and Adams willingly leaves the executive mansion and moves back to Massachusetts, and Jefferson peacefully assumes power. And people all over Europe said, that must be fake news. Those must be bad reports. There's no way any executive would ever willingly lay down power. And yet Adams, in defeat, did something glorious to give all of us a gift. I wanted to celebrate that.
It's funny how
it feels a little bit harder now. This building has been desecrated. Blood has been spilled in the hallways. I was with octogenarian members of this.
Oh, that's right. People got killed today. Yeah.
Troops and police stabilized them to get down the stairs at a time when a lot of our staffs were panicked and under their desks and not knowing what was going to happen to them. It was ugly today. But you know what? It turns out that when something's ugly, talking about beauty isn't just permissible. Talking about beauty is obligatory in a time like that. Why? Why would we talk about beauty after the ugliness of today? Because our kids need to know that this isn't what America is. What happened today isn't what America is. They've been given a glorious inheritance. This is the 59th presidential election. If the vice president was in the chair, and if the president pro tem was, I've made some joke that Chuck Grassley has voted in 2/3 of those 59 presidential elections. He's laughing. It's not as good as hit dear dead, but it's still got a Grassley laugh. I don't think we want to tell the Americans that come after us that this republic is broken, that this is just a banana republic, that our institutions can't be trusted. I don't think we want that. We don't want that in this body. We don't want that in our hometowns. I don't think we want to tell our kids that America's best days are behind us, because it's not true. That's not who we are. America isn't Hatfield's and McCoy's blood feud forever. America's a union. There's a lot that's broken in this country, but not anything that's so big that the American people can't rebuild it, that freedom and community and entrepreneurial effort and the neighborhoods can't rebuild. Nothing that's broken is so big that we can't fix it. Generations of our forefathers and our foremothers, probably not a word, our ancestors have spilled blood to defend the glories of this republic. Why would they do that? Because America is the most exceptional nation in the history of the world, and because the Constitution is the greatest political document that's ever been written. Most governments in the past have said might makes right, and we saw some of that hooligan nuttery today. Might makes right. No, it doesn't. God gives us rights by nature, and government is just our shared project to secure those rights. America has always been about what we choose to do together, the way we reaffirm our constitutional system, where we've got some governmental tasks, and we all in this body could do better at those governmental tasks, but the heart of America is not government. The center of America is not Washington, D.C. The center of America is the neighborhoods where 330 million Americans are raising their kids and trying to put food on the table and trying to love their neighbor. That's the center of America. We're not supposed to be the most important people in America. We're supposed to be servant leaders who try to...
You just looked at me and I was like, what? I'm texting.
But there's a structure that back home where they live, they can get from the silver frame of structure and order to the golden apple at the center, as Washington would have said it, which is the things that they build together. The places where they coach Little League, the places where they invite people to synagogue or church. Sometimes the big things we do together are governmental, like kicking Hitler's ass or like going to the moon. Sometimes there is governmental stuff, but the heart of America is about places where moms and dads are raising kids, and we're supposed to serve them by maintaining order and by rejecting violence. You can't do big things like that if you hate your neighbors. You can't do big things together as Americans if you think other Americans are the enemy. Well, there's a lot of uncertainty about the future. I get it. There's a lot that does need to be rebuilt. But if you're angry, I want to beg you, don't let the screamers who monetize hate have the final word. Don't let nihilists become your drug dealers. There are some who want to burn it all down. We met some of them today, but they aren't going to win. Don't let them be your prophets. Instead, organize, persuade, but most importantly, love your neighbor. Visit the widower down the street who's lonely, no one tells anybody that his wife died. He doesn't have a lot of friends. Shovel somebody's neighbor. Shovel somebody's driveway. You can't hate somebody who just shoveled your driveway. The heart of life is about community and neighborhood. When we're supposed to be servant leaders, the constitutional system is still the greatest order for any government ever, and it's our job to steward it and protect it. Let's remember that today when we vote.
Nobody knew what the fuck to do. Nobody. Like he was saying also, like people were hiding under tables and shit. Like nobody knew what the fuck was going on. They thought it was a terrorist attack. Like their final thought in their head was,
Well, and
we're gonna die.
Nah, stay strapped to get clapped, G.
the senator from Georgia had said that she had a totally different outlook on and a bunch of other shit to say when she came today. And then all this shit happened and she didn't know what the fuck was happening and feared for her life or whatever. And now she has a different view on it. You know, that these people storming in, you know, changed, I'm sure, a lot of their views. I'm sure there was a lot of people coming in here that were like, all right, let's fucking, you know. Like,
They thought the Republicans were going to be on their side, but
I'm sure that they came in thinking that, all right, Trump's going to get out of this. Like, I vote for him, blah, blah, blah. And then this shit happened. But there was only like 70 people that walked in out of the 2.5 million people that were there.
you can't fit 2.5 million people in there. Though. That's the thing. And, you know, a couple of those motherfuckers, they didn't want to get felony charges. That's what those guys would get probably.
Well, that's not even it, though, because everyone pushed the barrier back, right? They went up to the Capitol fucking doors and they stopped. And then there's the other people, you know, 0.13% fucking that decided we're gonna break in. And then this all happened. But the 2 fucking million people that are there, you know, came there to.
They were just there for show and tell.
They were there to enforce their right from the Constitution itself that they can protest.
Mm-hmm.
If they feel that way, then they have the right to protest, which is fine and dandy. But the final line is these motherfuckers that broke in, they fucked everything, because now that there's that possibility, like the governor or the senator from Georgia had said, like her aspect on it has changed now because of it happening. So basically, they shot himself in the fucking foot.
Either that, or that's just a good scapegoat excuse for her to use. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's, you know, the outcome of them protesting kind of got fucking thrown out the goddamn window when they decided to literally go through the fucking window to get into the building.
Well, they broke the fuck out that window.
Like all they wanted to do was talk about it, but then the pro-Trumpers, they were like, oh shit, like this discussion might take us away from having.
We might not get our way. Let's fucking break down and go in there, bud.
That's what I'm saying. It's stupid.
Full fucking cinder. Just kept running.
No, I swear. I don't know if we can find this video, but we're gonna have to. It was a dude took a picture sitting in Speaker Pelosi's chair with his feet kicked up on her desk. That shit was hilarious.
It's kind of one of those things where it's like we shouldn't have even had the opportunity to kill someone, you know? That shouldn't have been there. But the fact that it did because of stupid decisions, I feel like, you know, if there's one, there's going to be another. Like, because, like I said, there's abundance of people that went in. So, you know, what made this one woman, what did she do that was different from the rest to get fucking shot? So.
I don't know. So, I mean, brought it upon herself. Let's say that at least. She must have done something because, I mean, I don't know the full story. I need a full story. So she must have done something that was fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. That's the thing. We don't know. So this podcast is definitely
something new to us.
Yeah, it's not gonna be politics 100% of the time.
Trust me. We got some stories for you to hear. Now, let me tell you, this one time, this might be on the next episode. Who knows? This one time, you know, I was at a strip club, right? And I spent a little too much, but needless to say, I got carried away and drunk. We snuck liquor in the strip club because in New York, you can't have liquor in the strip club, I'm pretty sure. So we had some whiskey in there, and dude was giving it to me. And so basically, I got drunk, spent a little money. This is right before deployment. May I tell you that? So this is right before I got the fuck out of here. I may have paid a stripper to suck my cack. It happens to everyone, so I'm not gonna.
No, it doesn't.
Disclose the amount on the next episode of the Daily Terry. But that's shit like that, dude. We have so much shit to talk about, from the army to crazy stories. And then, it's going to be insane.
Time where Aiden King almost killed me on a boat because they told me to go moon some motherfuckers driving under a bridge. And I sure did. And I felt the motor hit my fucking top of my scalp. I should have floated up on that motherfucker like this, but then I saw Terry's little face. He was like, he was terrified.
Yeah.
Want to talk about some fucked up shit? Go to your buddy's room. It's like a landmine in there.
So basically, the content that we're going to be giving is
everything. Every fucking thing. You want sports? Gunner's right there. You want basketball? I'm right here. If you want some fucked up shit, there's Austin.
Yeah. Fucking.
Hi, man.
So, I mean, we have the stories of the fuckery that happens in the real army. We'll give you what really happens, because it's
when the recruiter tells you
funny.
Would you like to join? Turn the other way and walk out.
And then we have stories outside of the army where we go do stupid
What happened?
shit. And that windmill kicking motherfuckers in the face.
Jeez, Bailey, you eat everything.
And then, then there's always going to be shit like this that happens. It's like needs to be talked about. And I'm not sure that, 100% we're not the people to talk about that, but, I felt like it had to be shared. And so there's that. And
what happened?
But yeah, we're going to close this thing up here. Like we said, we got a bunch of content on the way. It's not going to be political like this ever. This just happened, why not fucking talk about it? It's fucking insane. But that's all from the Daily Terry today. Hopefully we'll see you next week. Come on through, subscribe, hit that like, comment what the fuck you think you want us to talk about. Comment your opinions on what we just talked about.
Comment in the comment box below. Subscribe. Check the like button. We'll be back later.
Eventually we'll all be in one room, so it won't be so fucked up.